leader, help me welcome to the call the CEO and founder of Mwr Financial, Mr. Brian House. Are you there, sir?
Hey, Gerald, I'm with you, buddy. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, my friend. The call is yours, and thanks for bringing this great news.
Hey, yeah, my pleasure, buddy. I am excited about this. And, guys, we've had a week full of great news. Obviously, we launched our new Financial Edge Services portal yesterday, and today we get to add something really special to our program that's all about helping you create even more cash flow out of your existing income. And we have a special guest that's on here. Before I get to our special guest and before we get into the meat of this call, I do need to give you a few updates real quick. This is typically our Thursday night, our second Thursday night of the month. Which means this is our Credit Max and Equity Max call. And I wanted to give you guys a little update on Credit Max. Okay, we've been getting several phone calls. We've done our own research and wanted to make everybody aware. And I want you guys to pass this on to your customers, to your team members. Let them know that because of COVID-19, there's been a little bit of a delay with the bureaus in regards to getting your corrected copies of your credit reports back in regards to the disputes that have been submitted for you by Credit Max. And I want you to know that's out of our control. I'll give you a good example. One of our major sources with TransUnion informed us that their Guatemala office and their India call center are both closed because of COVID-19. And because of those closures, the Pennsylvania office is trying to pick up that slack as well as handling the investigative part of the disputes and getting all of that taken care of. And because of that, it is causing things to run behind. This is happening across the board. TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. I want you to understand, when you see that it says completed in your back office, we have done what we said we were going to do, but there will be, for some of you, a little bit of an extra time frame on top of the 30 working days that the credit bureaus are allowed. Because of COVID-19 and a pandemic, it's allowed them a way to get around that time frame a little bit, and they're using it. Just so you know, they're swamped, and so that's what's happening, and I want you guys to understand that. There's nothing we've done. There's nothing any other credit restoration company could do. It's affecting everybody in that industry, and the great thing is we are not just a credit restoration company. We're a complete financial solutions company. So there are plenty of other things that you can plug into while we're in that waiting process for the bureaus to get their act together and get your corrected copies out of your reports. Now, I know some of you are receiving your stuff in regards to things that were sent out in April and some at the beginning of May, but I can tell you, those of you that were submitted in May, towards the end of May and in June, there will be a little bit of a delay. And again, it's not us. It's not us. It is the credit reporting agencies, the credit bureaus. Those are not government agencies. They're privately held companies that literally make their money selling our information, and you know, they have the same experiences in business that a lot of other businesses have because of this pandemic. And so, listen, we don't get into credit problems overnight. You're not going to get out of them overnight. So we need to be patient, need to understand what's going on. Take it easy on our staff, I'm telling you, because we've had some calls where some people are not real happy, and there is literally nothing we could do about it. Okay? Nothing. And so just have a little patience. If you don't receive something, I know we typically say 30 working days. If you don't receive something within 2 months of the date it is marked completed in your Credit Max Upload Center, those uploads, those reports you uploaded, if you don't receive something within 2 months of that date, send us a support ticket. Go to our support center, send us a support ticket, and say, hey, do you have any update? Our staff will be happy to look into it, get back to you and stuff. And but guys, listen, we're all in this together, so we've got to deal with those situations and make the best of it. But as soon as things clear up a little bit, guys, we'll be right back to where we were. So with that service, fortunately, everything else is working correctly, and we don't have to worry about dealing with a third party in regards to that. So all great stuff. Now, with that, guys, let's get to what this call is about. I am extremely excited tonight. We have a special guest on here. We also have, before I bring up our special guest, I want to make sure that my partner here, Mr. Ndamo Tolson, the President of Field and Leadership Development, I want to make sure he's on the line. And Ndamo, are you with us, buddy?
Yes, can you hear me, Brian?
Oh, I can hear you great, man. Listen, I know you're as excited as I am about launching this because of the impact that it's going to have on our members. But listen, hang tight because I know you're going to have some feedback. I know you're going to be taking some questions when we get through with Tammy. We can't keep her here forever, guys, because she has a lot of work to do, because I can tell you, I'm sure, since this launched a few minutes ago, that she is already starting to, her staff is already starting to receive bills that they're going to need to start negotiating. And so, guys, that's what this is about tonight. This is about introducing our bill reduction program. I'm excited to say that we were able to negotiate an agreement with one of what I consider to be the best in the industry. And guys, we looked and searched and talked to a lot of different companies that we could either buy or partner up with, and I can tell you that this young lady really, really impressed me. And she is a very tough negotiator, but she understood the value of what MWR Financial brings to the table, our large member base, the fact that we can bring a lot of business to the table, and we were able to work out an agreement that was a win-win for all of us, and we're able to get the lowest rates that I've ever seen in the industry for bill reduction for our members, okay? And you'll notice on the screen here it says bill reduction, reduced fees for Financial Edge members only. Okay, for Financial Edge members only. And so I'm going to say this real quick, and we can talk more about it here in a minute. But our rate is 40% of whatever is saved is what you're going to end up being able to get this service for. And so, example, if they save you $100 on a bill, the fee is $40 per month on that bill for what they saved you. Okay, on the savings is what you're paying the 40% on. Now, here's what I want to clarify. It says reduce fees for Financial Edge members only. This program was put into place, one, to create cash flow for our members to help them eliminate or reduce the cost of their membership. Okay, I believe, and you're going to hear about this from the lady I'm getting ready to introduce in just a second, but the national average for them is about $1,000 annually. Well, if you take our $79.97 membership and you multiply that, or just say $80 and multiply that times 12, that's $960. If we can create an average savings of $1,000, that eliminates our membership costs for most of our members. Now, obviously, results vary. People have different bills, all of those things, but I love that they have that type of average, that type of success rate, and that we can provide that type of savings potentially for our members, and a whole lot more for some of you, which you're going to find out about here in just a second. So I'm extremely excited about that because it adds a ton of value. It's going to increase retention. But if you're no longer a member, if you ever give up your Financial Edge membership, you don't pay 40%. You're going to go back up to the regular 50% is what's going to happen. Your membership has privileges, okay? Your membership with MWR Financial has privileges. So you get discounted rates on add-on or additional services that we can provide and that we can negotiate low pricing on. You get that because of the power of our membership, the collective group that we are, and what we bring to the table for companies that work with us allows us to be able to get special deals and things that nobody else in this industry gets. And we want to make sure that, hey, we're honoring what we said we were going to do with those companies, because they know that through our education, we're going to make sure you do the right things when it comes to bill reduction, to debt elimination, to tax reduction, all the things that we do. And so with that, I'm excited for you to hear from the young lady that I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to say this again. I've got to spend a lot of time with her over the phone, especially. We've been able to talk in depth about this program. She is a wealth of knowledge. She, guys, is the lead expert for MWR Financial's Bill Shredder program, and she has a phenomenal staff. One of the things I will tell you about her is that she has over 10 years of experience in the utilities and bill negotiating industry. Okay, so she knows what she's doing. This is a fairly young industry out there, and she's kind of pioneering the way and has put together just a phenomenal staff, a phenomenal system in order to be able to offer the highest quality of service that I've ever seen. This is not, I want you to know, this is not something that you just plug in your bills and then they send it through a computer program. These are real live people working daily on your behalf to get you the lowest rate possible when it comes to your cell phone, your utility bills in some states, cable, satellite, internet, and a whole lot more, which I'm going to let her go into. But with all of that said, before I steal any of her thunder, because I'm going to tell you, you would a lot rather hear from her about this. There's a reason we have experts. She is absolutely an expert in the bill reduction industry. And so, guys, let me introduce you to Miss Cammie Bamey. Okay, Cammie Bamey. And Cammie, are you on the line?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Brian. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, no, we're excited to have you, Cammie, and I'll tell you what, if you would, before we get into this, because I know you, me, and Damo are going to talk about this, I want to just have you, if you would, give a little bit of a 10,000-foot overview on bill reduction and what exactly it is that we're offering here for our members and what your team is of experts is going to be able to do for them. Could you do that for me?
It would be my pleasure. Thank you. I'd love to. And thanks, everybody, for joining this call tonight. What an exciting day for you guys. I have been so impressed with Brian and the team at MWR. You've got a team there that is so focused on your well-being, your financial well-being. And I got to tell you, every single time I talk with Brian, he is just emphasizing the importance of doing right by his members and making sure that, he has benefits in this membership that can really, really help you and continue to see his vision of lowering your costs. And so I am thrilled to be heading up this Bill Shredder team for you and to introduce this new service. I don't know if I heard right, but I heard there might be 1,000 people on this call. That is so exciting, and we are ready to work for every single one of you guys. So let me tell you a little bit about, I'll start with why in the world this service even exists. Every one of us, you probably are going to feel the pain and recognize what I talk about, but it's something that it doesn't dawn on most people. We are, as just Americans and everyday people, we are being overcharged every single month on so many services that we're paying month over month, and we just assume we have to pay what the bill says. So much so that the Consumer Advocacy Council and others estimate the overcharges in this country to be $60 billion on some of our major services that we use every single month. So just think about this for a minute. Think about the rate of inflation. Think about the rate of the average cable bill. The average cable bill in this country has increased 40% since 2010. That far surpasses the rate of inflation, which means that our bills are increasing in price, not because there's any viable reason to do so, but because ultimately corporate greed. And so, my background, I was with a large provider for a number of years, loved that and all the knowledge and everything that I gained, but 2 years ago decided I really needed to work for the consumer, become a consumer advocate, and create a company that made it easy for customers to manage and lower their bills. And our goal, with Bill Shredder is simply to make sure that you are not one of the customers that is overpaying. So when you think about your cost of living every month and you think about what most Americans do, they sit down, they think about their cost of living, and they think they've got to cut out the ballet class or the extra vacation money or the extra spending money to make ends meet. But with Bill Shredder, you can cut part of your standard cost of living without actually sacrificing your service. So here's how it works. It's super, super simple. We go to work. The Bill Shredder team is going to go to work negotiating for you as you on your behalf with your providers. So think of Bill Shredder like your financial manager for your monthly bills like cable, internet, phone, satellite radio, TV, any of these bills that you have and you just have to sit and pay month after month after month. So your service stays the same. The Bill Shredder promise is very, very simple. It's that your bills are going to be lowered without changing your service or committing you to any extended terms, and you don't pay anything up front. You don't have any fees unless we're successful saving you money. Now, Brian already talked about this, but the Bill Shredder team is comprised of some experts in negotiation. It's a combination, I like to call it high tech and high touch. So we've got a platform that is super intelligent, and that platform is going to look at your bills and understand the more bills we have, the smarter that platform becomes. We see what you're paying. We know what you should be paying. And so then the high-tech part is taking your bills, analyzing those bills, figuring out what you should be paying. The high-touch part is really somebody on the phone on your behalf negotiating for you because we know what you should be paying. One of the things I love most about the Bill Shredder service is that the worst-case scenario for any customer is you're going to get an email back that says, hey, guess what? We went to work for you, tried, and you've already got the best rate. And so that, even in and of itself, is a great benefit because you get peace of mind of knowing that you are not in the 80% of customers being overcharged. And typically when we see that, we only see that maybe on one bill that somebody submits, but 3 or 4 other bills we can save. So what we love to, really encourage every single person on this call to do is think about all of your monthly bills that you'd like to lower, and you want to put all of those up in the Bill Shredder because if I understand it right, there's no limit to the number of bills that you can put in as a member. You can put in every one of your personal bills and even your business bills if you've got business bills that you can put into there, and our negotiators are going to go to work for you and negotiate that down. So that's the core of how the service works. I am passionate about it because one of the things that I've noticed in the years of working in this kind of utility space is that you as a customer and me as a customer, all of us as customers, we're charged based on a pricing strategy that's just kind of charge what the customer will pay as opposed to charging what's fair. I like to call it the price for loyalty. Instead of getting loyalty discounts, if you don't have somebody fighting for you and working for you, you're getting a loyalty premium that's charged to your account, and your prices go up month after month or year after year. And so we are really your defense against that. We're going to lower your bills, and we're going to continue renegotiating those term after term to make sure that you're never overpaying. So, Brian, I know we've got a whole bunch of stuff we want to kick through. We want to talk through how it works and give them some details, but that's just an overview of what we do, why we're so passionate about it, why we can't wait to help lowering all the bills for the MWR members.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Cammie, and I appreciate you giving that overview. And I'm gonna hit you with a couple of questions here. One, you started talking about most people that are on here think that, okay, this is for my personal bills, but we can also do this for their businesses. And if you would, Cammie, you've given me some examples of small and mid-sized and large businesses in the past, where you save people literally tens of thousands of dollars annually with some of the bigger companies. And I know that during this time, especially with small business and stuff, how big of a deal it can be. But with this, they're able to, both them and their spouse are able to participate in it because our membership includes both them and their spouse. But this also includes their business, if they have a business. That's correct?
Absolutely. So just to kind of give everybody a sense of this, you might think, well, gosh, how much can I save with Bill Shredder? And, the answer really is it depends. It depends on how many bills you give to the Bill Shredder team. It depends on what those bills look like. If you're, a brand new customer in a small apartment and you have just one small internet bill without much, capacity on it, then that's probably going to be a smaller savings if you're on a new customer rate. But if you've got a lot of bills, your savings can range anywhere from, a $10 credit, that's not average, but, a small credit, on up to thousands of dollars. And so it really depends. What we encourage is that people put all their bills. And just like Brian said, many of you, and I know that many of the people on this call are extremely financially savvy. You're really trying to live a debt-free life, and you're looking for, how to better your financial situation. And so many of you might have small businesses that you own and operate as well. Maybe it's a franchise, maybe it's maybe it's a daycare, maybe it's a ballet studio, whatever that is. We are, with the Bill Shredder team and with the product, you can put those business bills in as well. And with small businesses, we can save upwards of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. I hate to use it as an example, but it's real. We've even saved customers hundreds of thousands of dollars for large national multi-location companies. So don't think that this is limited to any one side. This is for your home, absolutely your bills, your spouse's bills. If you've got a family cell phone plan, just think about cell phones for a minute. There are 429 cell phone subscribers in the 429 million cell phone subscribers in the country. That's more than there are people. And so, if you think about just your own household, the types of bills that you can take advantage of this benefit with, certainly your cell phone bills for you, your teens, your spouses, whoever you've got them for, cable, internet, waste management. If you live in an area where the city doesn't come and take away your trash and your waste is actually done through a third-party private service, waste management is a great category. Water delivery, if you get like a Poland Springs delivery coming on a regular basis, that's something you can put in there. And really what we like to tell people is, when in doubt, send us the bill. We'll take a look at it. And worst cases, we'll send you back an email and say, we don't do that type of bill. But when in doubt, send it through to us and let us take a look at it.
I love it. Cammie, let me ask you this, too, real quick. And you may want to get into this on the next segment of what we're going to do as far as showing people how to get started, how to plug in their information. Excuse me. But what is the time process or the time table for somebody that submits their bills, and how long before they get an answer back?
Yeah, sure. So if you've got a standard bill and there's nothing real special or out of the ordinary about it, sometimes business bills take a little longer because we'll coordinate with you a bit, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Some of the things that you might hear from a negotiator about if they've got some questions for you or need to collaborate. But the vast majority of negotiations are hands off; they're automatic. You'll get them started, and within 1 to 2 billing cycles, you'll see what your savings are. So that's the time frame that you want to plan on, but you'll hear from the Bill Shredder team throughout that whole process. You're going to receive emails from the team letting you know where it's at. So you'll find out that your bill has been reviewed. If maybe some information is missing, the team might reach out to you for that. They'll reach out to you and let you know that the negotiator is getting started on your bill, that they're working on it. You'll get emails throughout the process, so you'll know how it's tracking and how it's coming, and you'll also be able to log in, through your MWR portal. You'll be able to also click over and log into a Bill Shredder portal where you'll see all your bills and see the status of those bills. So you'll be able to be apprised of what's happening that whole time. But we like to tell people to count on about 1 to 2 billing cycles to see those savings.
I love it. And I love what you just said, too, because you got a chance to take a look at our Facebook page, our MWR Financial Testimonials. And for our members, especially those that are financial directors that are marketing our program and sharing our membership and opportunity with others, I think that's huge because they get to have something that we're big on. Documentation beats conversation. And so all of our testimonies are absolutely verified. And for you to be able to provide a portal like that for them to be able to see that information, I think is phenomenal, because I know what these guys will do. They will take that and share it with the world, and it's their story that's helping them build phenomenal businesses. And so I love that. I love it, Cammie.
Great, great. Yeah, that's awesome. I just really love how you guys all share your successes with one another and how you're really implementing the strategies that you're learning and the tools that you're getting through MWR. So I hope to see lots of you using that, and the emails that you get from the Bill Shredder team can go up into that, and really that's the easiest thing for you to use to make a testimonial, because that email comes, it's such a fun email. It says you've got savings, and it'll tell you the amount, and you can start sharing those far and wide.
I love it. I love it. Listen, one more question, and let's move on to, getting into the portal and showing people how to get set up, what they can do. But there are a lot of people out there that may say, and they say this about every service, and we always say that, there's a reason why you have experts. And, experts know what they're doing. It helps you eliminate mistakes. It eliminates the learning curve. With our program, you don't have to be a CPA, a CFP, an enrolled agent. You don't have to learn how to be a credit or debt expert or a wealth expert or savings and investment expert. And now you don't have to be a bill reduction expert. If you could give anybody any advice, why is it so important to use a company like Bill Shredder, MWR Financial Bill Shredder, compared to trying to do it on your own?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, you could do it yourself, I suppose, yeah. But we hire experts for so many things in our life, because typically with a true service that requires some expertise and requires the proper way of doing something. If you attempt to do it yourself, first of all, you're wasting a lot of time. And time is money, as they say, and I really am a firm believer in that you have better things to do with your time. But second of all, you're leaving money on the table. The reality is you could sell your house yourself, but you use a real estate agent. You could do your taxes yourself, but you use an expert or use somebody that's going to help you do that. So there's a number of things like that you just want to do right. So what our Bill Shredder team has access to, they have access to, first of all, the Bill Shredder platform that helps them know and see where does that bill stack against other bills that are like it. What should the customer be paying? What's fair and right? What are the available discounts there? There's also strategies. Negotiation is not it's not something that anybody can do. Frankly, there's strategies. We've got our team is highly versed in how to negotiate and how to make sure that we're getting the best discounts on your behalf. So bottom line is sure, you technically could do what we do, but you're likely not going to have the right strategies in doing it. You're certainly not going to have the platform that's going to give you kind of that platform effect of knowledge and learning, and you're just going to be leaving money on the table, plain and simple.
I love it. I love it. Perfect answer. And let's get into this, Cami. Before we go on, let me ask real quick. And Damo, do you have anything you want to add before we continue on and Cami gets in here and starts showing everybody how this program works?
Absolutely, Brian. You know what? First of all, Cami, I'm super, super flat out excited. What the service and the value that you add is phenomenal, and to have expertise in this area, I know I'm going to take advantage of it for sure, and I know many others are. We had a couple questions that I thought we may ask these questions now, and then that way when we get into it, these questions will already have been tabled. One was, what about health insurance? That was probably one of the biggest ones that so many people were asking questions on the chat. They were saying, what about health insurance? Is that something that even you pay on a monthly basis, but is that something that we at Bill Shredder we can really handle that?
Yep, so great question. At Bill Shredder right now we are not doing insurance. So you'll see the categories when we get into the login. We're looking at insurance, maybe not health insurance right off the bat, but we'll be looking at other types of insurance as potential categories that will be added to Bill Shredder in the future. But right now you're looking at things like cable, mobile phone, internet, and you'll see all the categories when you get into the little enrollment tool that we're going to show you. But health insurance is unfortunately not one of them. That's aspirationally one we'd love to add to the platform, but it's not something we're doing at this time.
Sure, no, perfectly. The other thing that I think we already know the answer, but I'll just ask it anyway, is this offered throughout every state nationally?
Yes, it is. So, yeah, this is 50 states, offered nationally, and in addition, there's a bonus service that we can actually help with electricity, even though that's a regulated service. We can help with electricity in 10 bonus states, and we'll get to that when we get to the tool. But the majority of all of the services that we can lower, cable, internet, phone, waste management, everything else I mentioned, payroll services, merchant services for businesses, that's 50 states nationwide.
All right, fantastic. Well, you know what? Let's get to it, because I think a lot of the questions that I still have, they'll be answered, and everyone will hear those answers. And if there's any that are unanswered, I'll go on and ask you at the end. Thanks so much, Cammie.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Tom.
Sure.
Okay. Hey, Cammie, listen. I'm on the page right now, and can you see my screen?
Yep, I can.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Get Started button, and I want to say this, guys. Bill reduction is underneath debt elimination in your Equity Max member access. That's where you'll see the bill reduction tab, and you can hit the little arrow to drop, or the little plus sign to drop it down. You'll see MWR Financial Bill Shredder. All you got to do is click on the Get Started button, and then once you do that, it's going to take you in to our MWR Financial Bill Shredder. What would you call this, Cammie?
Let's call this the Enrollment Tool.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah, so this is where you're going to enroll for the service. And let me walk you through this. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm just going to walk you through every single piece of it. So up at the top, you're going to see it'll say home. It'll default to home. That's fine. You can leave it home. You're going to put all your personal bills in. When you come add your business bills later, you'll already have a home account, but that's okay. We'll negotiate your business bill for you anyway. So then you're going to pick your state. So you're going to pick whatever state you want to pick. You can grab Kentucky there. Perfect. Okay. And then you're going to pick the categories you want to lower. So you can pick as many or as few as you want here. So let's just pick a couple just so you can see what the next screen looks like. So you'll pick the cable and maybe phone.
Okay.
So on this screen, all you're doing is clicking that. And then if you scroll up, I want to point out a couple things. In the cart, you're seeing what you've added to your cart here, and you see that the total today is 0. Because, again, you're not paying anything today. We are going to ask for payment info on the next page, and I'll explain why, but you're not being charged anything. So your cart is 0. And also right there in the cart, I want to point this out because there's a little plus and a minus sign. And that's going to actually change the quantity of your bills that you're uploading. So if you have maybe your husband and wife are on the same cell phone plan, then one is fine. But maybe you have 2 separate accounts, 2 separate bills that you pay. So you could just change that quantity to 2, and then it's going to ask you for 2 separate bills on the next page. So where that comes in real handy, if you scroll over on the left there, Brian, you'll see if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a category that is sometimes my favorite, because it's just called Other. And so if you're wondering, I wonder if they can do my, whatever it is. For instance, waste management is actually a real popular one for us, but we haven't added a category yet, so we'll add that category here. But you could just put it in under Other. And so if you are ever in doubt, if you have 3 or 4 bills that you're wondering, just click Other and set your quantity to whatever it is and send them to us. And the Bill Shredder team will just tell you if we can't do them. But if we can, we'll take a look at them. So once you've selected this, then you go to your next step. Just proceed to checkout. And then this page is you're going to give the contact information. So that is pretty self-explanatory. So you're just going to fill in your name, your company name if it's going through a company, phone. We do need a phone so we can contact you if we need to throughout the negotiation. We do need an email that's required so that we can email you all of the updates and everything for it. Address, and just basic contact info. So then for each one of your bills, it's going to tell you, so see there it says cable bill bundle info number 1. If you had multiple of those, then it would say number 2, number 3, etc. But this is going to be your first cable. You're going to pick your provider. So it's just going to pick whichever provider you're uploading. And depending on the provider, there may or may not be a PIN that's required. And so if it's asking for a PIN, then you need to put the PIN there in. That's so the Bill Shredder team can authenticate your account, because we negotiate as you on your behalf, And when we do that, we need to be able to have access to your account to do that. So if you don't know your PIN when you're submitting this, you can certainly put in a placeholder. Just know that you're going to get an email back from the bill shredder team that says, hey, we need your PIN before we can go to work. So then you can always email back support@mwrbillshredder.com, and we'll get that information. So then the next thing under here that's optional is this little thing there that says auto lock. So I want to talk about that one for a minute. So auto lock is a choice you have. So by default, the bill shredder team is going to keep your terms exactly the same. So if you're on a contract that expires in a year, we will not extend that contract term. But occasionally, we have the opportunity to maximize savings if we can extend your contract term up to 2 years. So if you're on a provider that you love, that you know that that's a provider that you're not going to leave, you're happy with your cell phone service, you're happy with your cable service, go ahead and auto lock, because that's going to allow the bill shredder team to maximize your savings by extending your term up to 2 years. But you do not have to do that. It's optional. If you don't check that, then we won't extend your term without contacting you. We might still contact you and say, hey, Brian, you know what? We see there's an opportunity on your Time Warner cable bill to get you an extra $50 a month or whatever it is if you were okay with an extra 2-year contract. And you could say, nope, and we'll turn that down. But if you check that, we can go ahead and do that automatically. So then the next part that's super important is the copy of your bill. So we need a good, clean, clear, crisp copy of your bill. You can get that to us a number of ways. If you're on a cell phone, you can actually take a picture of it, and that box will open up your camera icon. Just make sure you take a picture of it in good lighting, set it down on a table, hold your phone up above it so that it's straight, clear, crisp, clean, complete, and we need all pages. If you're on your computer and you've scanned it in, then you can drag and drop that file, or you can browse like Brian was just doing. A lot of our the clients like to go onto your provider. So you could go onto your Time Warner cable and log into that account, and you could grab a PDF down out of that account, and then you could drag drop that on there. So any of those options is fine. Scan it, take a picture of it, drag and drop a file you've downloaded. Whatever method you want to use, you're going to get us the copy of your bill. So you're going to repeat that process for every bill that you've selected, and we won't do that now, but you'd go through and same drill. You'd pick your provider, give us your PIN, and then upload your bill copy, and you do that for each of the bills that you've selected. So here's phone. In each one of these two, you'll notice that if your provider isn't listed, there's always an other. So if you have a different provider, then you can choose an other. So after you have given us all the information for your bills, then it comes time to put your payment details in here. So again, it reminds you there, we won't charge you unless you save you money. The reason that we have you add a credit card on file today is it just makes it easier to charge that split of savings once the bill shredder team is successful. Then you quickly agree to the service details. And there's 2 checkboxes there. There's one that's a summary, and then there's one that's a full agreement. Now, in the summary there, I want to point out this is very cool. This is very much due to Brian wanting so badly to make sure that we got a great discount. Industry standard, guys, for this type of service is absolutely 50-55% of savings. And that's because it is so high touch. There are negotiators on the other end of this that need to get paid for this work. And as an MWR member, you're only charged 40% of the savings. And so that's a significant discount. If think about that, just putting it in real terms. Let's use a simple example. If the bill shredder team gets you a $20 a month reduction, that reduction appears on your provider invoice. So you pay $20 or less on your provider invoice, and then you get an $8 a month fee charged from bill shredder. That's 40%. The industry standard on that would be $10 or $11. So as an MWR member, in addition to getting the savings, you're getting on your provider invoices, you're getting an extra 20% above what the standard fee is for this service. So really, really great deal. So you check that box, agree to that, and then you click that checkout button, and you're done. It's literally those 2 pages.
Can I hit the checkout button, or it won't do it, will it?
It will give you errors because you've got a lot of incomplete stuff. But, yeah, you can click it now because it'll tell you that, that some of the required items are not in there. So I think it's going to ask for your bills that you had submitted and then your payment info and all those other things.
Do you want me to enter those, Tammy? I don't care. I mean, I can just.
Because that'll just go to a negotiator, and then it would be. I don't think you need to. I think I can explain to everybody what they'd see on the following page. It's just very simple. It just says congratulations. Once you're done with this piece, then the bill shredder team is going to go to work. Then my team gets started, and you're going to start getting those emails through the process. The first email you're going to get is just going to give you a confirmation that we've received it. Hey, great, we got your bill, and we'll let you know, and you'll get a login that you can log in to check the status of your bills. And from there on out, you're going to get emailed every time there's anything that's happening. The one thing, though, Brian, that I want to explain, and I don't know that we have an example here you can show, once you've submitted one bill, then you don't have to re-enter all your contact information. When you click that link from your MWR portal, it's going to pre-populate all that for you, and all you need to do is select the category and upload the bill. You won't have to re-enter your payment info. You don't have to re-agree to the terms. You don't have to re-enter your contact info. Once you've submitted one, then you just add the new bills to your account each time. So really, really slick, really simple. And, it's such a simple process. I really highly recommend to everybody that you take some time while you're thinking about it. Don't do the thing we always do in life and think, oh, that's great, and then we, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Take some time, go gather your bills, put 4, 5, 6 of them in the system right away so that you don't have to worry about getting more as time goes on. You might not be being overcharged on one bill, and you might be being egregiously overcharged on another bill, and you never know. So take the time, grab them all, and let our team go to work for you.
I love it. I love it. I love it, Tammy. Listen, is there anything else you can think of that we need to? I know you're on a time constraint here, so I want to respect your time and stuff, but is there anything else that you can think of that we need to cover that they need to know before Ndamo comes up with some questions here? Because I know he's probably gotten a bunch.
Yeah, I think let's let Don hit me with the questions. And guys, I would just say that this is an absolute no risk benefit as part of your MWR membership. It is such a win-win-win. It's we really are. I'm just so thrilled to work with all of you and to help let our team help lower your bills. And the thing I do want to say is I want everybody to just write down, and I think this will be in your portal and everything, but write down the email support@mwrbillshredder.com. If anything at all goes wrong, if you've got a question while you're uploading, maybe you try to upload your bill and something fails and you just want to email it to us. Maybe you're not comfortable uploading it here or whatever. If you've got a question, if you have a question on your provider invoice that you're not seeing the savings, anything like that, you have let Bill Shredder go to work for us. Let us take care of it for you. We want this to be hassle-free. So any questions you have at all, you can call the Bill Shredder support line, or you can email the Bill Shredder support email, and we will take care of you. We are very much a high-touch service and a high-touch part of MWR Financial, and we're really excited to serve you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, Cammie. And one of the things, guys, that when they log in and they actually have their account set up, they'll have that contact information available when they log in. Correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely, and it's every single email you receive, and I'm sure you'll put it in the MWR portal too. Yeah, you'll have it all kinds of places.
Yes.
It's support at mwrbillshredder.com.
I got it. We'll make sure that's also on our bill reduction page if needed. But so, guys, let's do this real quick. Ndamo, are you?
Yes.
Yeah. Listen, I know you're probably getting hit with stuff.
I am.
I know. Yeah, listen, Cammie, we literally, between dial-ins and on the computer right now, I show 715 people on the webinar side of this, and we've got a little over 390 on the call-in side. So we exceeded the 1,000 people on this that we thought were going to be here. So phenomenal.
I want to put a goal out there then. So if we've got 1,000 people, and I know that represents only a small, a portion of your membership, and you guys are just growing by leaps and bounds. I know all these folks are going to go talk to more folks that want to be members and everything else. But I want to measure the bill shredder success in terms of the amount of savings that we've done for MWR members. So we should put a goal out there, Brian, for how quickly we can hit $1 million in savings for the MWR members. I think that would be an exciting thing to track. If we've got all 1,000 of you go put in your bills and hit our averages, we should hit that quickly. So I really would love to have another call when we're celebrating some of those savings milestones. But let's put a $1 million goal out there.
Listen, nothing would make me happier and nothing would make everybody on this call happier than if we could help them put that money back in their pocket. So I love that idea. I think that's awesome. And hey guys, let's show them what MWR Financial is made of, because I know she has a phenomenal staff. They're not worried about the volume that we can bring. But listen, this thing gets better with the more volume we have, and so we'll talk more about that here in the future. But let's do our part to make sure that we're plugging into this and taking advantage of it. So thank you, Tammy, for that idea. That's a great idea, and keep me posted on it as we're going through this, because we'll eventually put a ticker together showing exactly how much money we're saving people through bill reduction. I think that would be an awesome idea for our site as well.
Very cool. Very cool.
I think we can do that, Brian, in 90 days.
I think we can do it quick.
In 90 days. Faster than that, yes, but 90 days, absolutely, yes, done it.
Yeah, good stuff.
You know what, Brian and Cammie, I have a question. One question that is asked a lot of different ways, but I think I can help people clarify this. So, Cammie, let's say I put all my things in there and I had $100 a month that I was paying out on bills. I'm just making something real simple. Or let's say it was $1,000 a month on bills. And I took that $1,000 and you helped shred. These are bills that I could have shredded. And we got down to, let's say you saved out of the $1,000, maybe you cut it down to, what would it typically be down to, $400?
500, 600.
Yeah, it would depend on each bill. So let's say you have a $100 reduction on a bill in a month.
Right.
Just to use some easy math. Yep.
So I had a $100 reduction on a bill. Then the way that I'm charged on that is that I would pay 40%, which is $40 on that $100. So since I'm paying $40 on that $100, then in actuality, the bill was reduced by $100, so I'm saving $60 a month on that bill.
That's right. Yep. But your net savings is the 60%. So you'll see the full reduction on your bill of whatever the bill shredder team negotiates for you, and then the bill shredder invoice will be charged automatically at 40% of whatever that reduction is.
Right. So what I'm going to see is I'm going to see the $100 reduced, and I think this would clarify for everybody that asked this question. I'll see the $100 reduced on my bill, but in reality, I'll be excited, but I know I'm paying that $40, and that is going to be paying every month that I get that same savings, correct? So I'd be paying the $40 every single month. So if it's over 12 months, I would pay that $40 every month, but my savings would be a net of $60 every single month. So in reality, over the course of 12 months, I saved $720 on this example. Net savings, correct?
Net savings, yep, that's a great example. And so that will also be broken out in a lot of detail for you guys on each individual bill, because every single bill is different. And so the bill shredder, system is no different from MWR's values and so many of the other services that MWR provides, in that it's extremely transparent and clear. So when a negotiation can result in a number of different ways that a bill is lowered. It can be an upfront credit. Sometimes it's just a $50 one-time credit. It can be a monthly reduction. It can be monthly credits. So those are always, it can even sometimes be an upgrade. Sometimes there's an upgrade that is just in there for free, maybe a faster internet speed or something like that. So each of those benefits and reductions are itemized out in the email that says you've got savings. That comes out to the member. And when you get that email, it'll show you exactly when you'll be charged and how much you'll be charged, so that you know. And as a convenience, the other thing that is very different, most of the industry that does anything like this charges you that full fee 100% up front. So let's say you've got a 2-year savings term, and maybe the savings are fantastic, but you don't have the cash to pay that fee right then. That's how most of the industry does it. So the Bill Shredder program is actually going to charge you over the course of your savings as you're realizing the savings. It's another huge benefit for members. So you're just paying monthly as you get the savings, so you always are net positive. You're always getting a savings because your provider invoice goes down, and your fee is only going to be 40% of what those savings are.
That's fantastic. I mean, that really, really helps. I think it helps everybody. Now, one thing on that, so we stay with that, and then I have some other questions that I think you'll be able to answer very easily. 40%, is it charged the same day that the bill is due? Like, for example, the bill is due on the 10th of the month, and I get the statement. It shows you saved me you saved me saved me $100, so I'm ready to pay that $40 to you. Is that bill the same day that I would have the other bill due?
It's not, because we're separate and distinct from the provider. Sure. One of the things that's powerful about Bill Shredder is that it's provider agnostic. So, we don't work with or explicitly for or exclusively with any provider. We're provider agnostic because we work for the customer. So you're paying the Bill Shredder team the fee for negotiating, and that's separate from your provider invoice. So the timing isn't necessarily aligned. The Bill Shredder invoice goes out the day that the negotiations are complete and the savings are achieved, and then your bill will be reduced, and that will continue to be charged on whatever the billing cycle is from your provider. So it's aligned in that it's the same, they'll always be in the same month you're receiving that savings, but they won't be on the same day because they're two separate entities. Your Comcast is charging you lower because we've negotiated it, and then Bill Shredder is invoicing you. So does that make sense?
No, that absolutely makes sense. In fact, that not only makes sense, but here's the other thing that people are asking, because I'm getting hit with questions quickly, and I just want to say this, and it's exciting. Someone just said, hey, can the cost of the fee be a business deduction because this is a professional service that is tax deductible?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have to give it all the normal caveats of talking to an accountant, talk to your trainer. However, however, I can say we have been told by many accountants that yes, absolutely, it's a professional fee and it's tax deductible. So you'd want to confirm that with your own tax professional. But that is an excellent question, and we've been told by our tax folks that it is.
Okay, so here, let me get to some of these other questions because those answered a lot of people's questions just now. But someone asked, are there what about non-deregulated areas for gas and electric?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and gas is not included right now only because gas is at such historic lows, so it's difficult to improve upon that. But that is a great question, and yes, for electric in 10 states, we absolutely can do your electric bill, and so that's Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Maryland. I'll get a list out to you guys, and you can email it to people know those states. And that service is a little bit different because it's not a negotiation service. What Bill Shredder does for electric is actually an auto-switching service. So without taking up too much of the folks' time, if you're familiar with how the energy deregulated markets work, you can choose a supplier. You can choose a supplier for your energy, but the suppliers almost all have egregious sort of bait-and-switch pricing. And so what the Bill Shredder platform does is automatically renew you on a provider that is guaranteed to be lower than the utility term after term, month after month. It's a fantastic platform. So, and that was just a low subscription fee. So you pay around $5 a month for that service. So in those markets, you absolutely can upload your electricity bill, and you'll have that bill lowered as well. And it's a great, great service.
Okay, great question. Thank you for that answer. Another question was, do student loans? Yes.
I got to jump in real quick because we're limited on time here.
Sure.
And they can submit questions, but I do have to ask Cammie one thing too. Cammie, what about ongoing monitoring and annual review? Because I know we talked about that in the past. I think that's important because obviously you could be looking at your cable bill right now, and a year from now it might be $100 now, but then it's 105, and then it's 107, and then it's 112.
It's a great question that all happens. So if you scroll down, actually, you can see that in that quick little box, it explains that we do actually renegotiate for you. It's one of the things I love most about the bill shredder service. So if you look at that, it says, MWR Financial will continue to renegotiate my bill at the end of each term to optimize long-term savings. So it actually auto-renews, and unless you can opt out at any time. You can say, hey, I want to get overcharged. I don't want you to negotiate my bills anymore. But if somebody doesn't opt out, and we'll send a renewal email, what happens is the team's just going to continue to renegotiate, which is awesome. So it's not even, I wouldn't think of it as an annual review. I would think of it as at the end of the savings term. So every savings term is different. Sometimes we might negotiate a 6-month savings. Sometimes it might be a 2-year savings. Sometimes it might be a 1-year savings. So we're really going to optimize what we can negotiate for you. But when that savings expires, you don't have to worry about that price going up, significantly higher for that provider to attempt to recoup any of those costs, because we're going to renegotiate that for you. So at the end of that term, you'll get an email that says, hey, your savings are expiring, but don't worry, we'll renegotiate that for you. And if you would like to opt out, you can let us know. Otherwise, we just continue to auto-renew that automatically.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Well,
Kimmy, I'm going to point out something else, because I had a question here real quick. Guys, you got to understand, these negotiators, literally, you're paying them based and agreeing to pay based off of what they have saved you. Okay, I want to pay attention to this though. It says I can cancel any time by calling 844-460-0093. However, any unpaid fees resulting from achieved savings will be due in full at time of cancellation. Okay? So, listen, if they negotiate a year term, Cammie, correct me if I'm wrong, you still owe that because you got the savings based off of what the negotiators charge. So, thinking, I'm going to get them to negotiate something and just cancel, bad move, guys, bad move. And it could affect your membership here at MWR Financial, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you point that out, because we are choosing as a courtesy and as a convenience to charge our fee over time, but our service is 100% complete, when we finish that negotiation. And so the team, the negotiator that works on that for you, is paid a performance-based fee based on how much they're successful in negotiating for you. And so you are agreeing to pay, the 40% of that, as long as you're a member. You're agreeing to pay that regardless of whether you want us to renegotiate at the end of that term. So you can certainly opt out of renegotiations, but you are liable for that first negotiation percentage.
Absolutely. Very good.
One thing I want to point out, Dom and Brian, that I think it's something that makes a lot of sense when people hear it, but they probably don't think about it otherwise. Your provider's not happy that we're calling them. Just remember that we're calling as a service. We're negotiating on your behalf as you. You don't want to call your provider and say, hey. Sometimes people try to get creative and think, well, I'm going to maybe try to get in the mix of this. Maybe I'll call too, and think that somehow that's helping. And what you want to do is when you're hiring a bill shredder to take care of your bills, you want to kind of stay out of it. Not kind of. You want to totally stay out of it. You want to let our negotiators go to work, do their job, and you don't want to get in the way of that. So I want to mention that, because if you want to have maximum success and let us maximize your savings, don't try to kind of tag team with us and co-pilot with us, and just let our team go to work.
Amen.
Amen. So let's do this real quickly, because here's I think these 3 questions will kind of take care of most questions that are being asked. One of them is, what about like Parent Plus loans and student loans and things like that? A lot of people
Yeah.
want to know that.
Yep. So student loans is on the roadmap for Bill Shredder, and it's one where there is just significant opportunity, but it is not yet an available service. I would say you asked about health insurance earlier. I would say student loans would probably we'll see come on the platform before we would see health insurance come on the platform. It's one we're excited about, but it's not yet available.
Okay, no, that's exciting. Here's something else that had the question of, what about like if Netflix, Amazon Prime, Spotify, those kinds of accounts, would those kinds of accounts be a part of the MWR Financial Bill Shredder service?
You can always put it up when in doubt. You like to say when in doubt, send it in. But a general rule is if it's regulated, so if it's a regulated service like your city water account or something like that, then we likely can't improve upon it. And if it's a rack rate where you can go on a website like a Hulu and it's they charge the exact same price to everybody, then it's likely not something that we can improve upon. It's when you get into all the the cable and the mobile and the internet and everything else where there's all kinds of really opaque pricing strategies and egregious pricing strategies where we can really improve upon that. So if you think of it as a subscription service, you just sign up online for everybody pays the exact same price, then likely not. And if it's a regulated service, likely not. But when in doubt, send it in and we'll let you know.
Yeah, I love that. So when in doubt, send it in. Let me ask you this. What about credit card interest rate reductions? Is that something that you're negotiating the interest rate itself, or is it just the overcharging of the fees that they actually charge and they kind of secretly put on you over time?
Yeah, so credit cards is another aspirational one. So credit cards is another one that's not on there yet today. And so I think I mentioned merchant services earlier. So for businesses, absolutely can negotiate your actual merchant services. So what you're using to charge and pay customers, so your WorldPay or your a service like that. On a personal credit card bill, that is, along with student loans, one of the very next categories we're looking at adding to the platform.
Okay, and then the final one I would ask you right now, so it sounds like mortgage payments would kind of fall into that same sort of category in terms. Am I right? Okay.
Yep, that's one we really
mortgage payments, home insurance, car insurance, all those kinds of insurance things, I would believe fall in that same sort of category. Let's see, I'm looking for, there was one and I just moved it and I missed it. In terms of people asking about the fees being, they're recurring fees, yes, because they're negotiated every month. They're saving you, so we talked about that earlier. And I do want to say that Pam and Stan are two. Other people have done it, but those are the two names I saw most recently. They have already already put some bills in there, shredded it in there. Let me look at this.
Go look.
Yeah, there's some people have already started. Let's see here.
Good job. To anybody who has. Let me go see. I'll shout out some numbers. I see. Oh, I do. You know what? You guys are busy. I see Tom. I see Christy. I see Danny. I see Stan. Awesome. So I see Jim. So keep them coming. Keep them coming.
That's it. So one person just wants to know: is there any insurance? What insurance does MWR Financial Bill Shredder have to guarantee the savings? Either you can save it. I think you said this earlier. Either you're going to save us money or you're not. You're going to tell us right up front. We'll know that the savings is happening or not.
Exactly. So you're either going to get savings, or you're going to get an email that says you're already on a great rate. And what usually happens there is that it might get put on hold. You might get put, something, because maybe we can see that you've got a promotional discount on there. And what happens after those promotional discounts go away, your price gets, ratcheted way up. And so sometimes you might get an email that says, hey, you're on a great rate until October. We're going to take a look at it then. And then come October, we'll send you another email and say, hey, it's that time. We're going to look at your bill and make sure. So it's kind of, we're constantly monitoring it for you.
Right.
And so, and then if you get put on hold, if we can't save you, there's no fee. So we're just going to monitor it as long as we need, and we don't charge you unless we're successful, even though we're looking at it on a regular basis.
Yeah, and Cammie, to add to that, you're basically negotiating a new agreement with the provider. And so, there's no need for an insurance on it because they're agreeing to those terms. That's why they're giving you a discount.
Yeah, and one thing I want to just say as loudly as I possibly can is that providers make mistakes. They're sloppy. And if you see ever that, let's say that we send you an email saying we've negotiated and we've got you $30 a month that should be a credit. Maybe you see that 1 month and then it goes away the next month. You absolutely need to just let us know, mwrbillshredder.com. We will call and fight that battle for you. So if that's our job, that's what we do for you. So you don't need to go through the hassle of waiting in a call tree and getting put on hold and going through the ringer. We will take care of that for you if the provider makes a mistake. So just in that question, and that's the closest thing I can think of is in terms of insurance, is just if something goes wrong with those savings, we'll take care of those for you. And Bill Shredder does have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, where if the savings are somehow not there and the provider messes up and they're not there, you absolutely would not pay us anything and you'd be refunded anything you paid. So just want to make sure everybody feels comfortable. The service is there to protect you, and any questions that you have or any problems that you encounter, just email the support team and they'll take care of you.
So what I love, Cammie, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong here, but what I see and what I love that this does is exactly what our great CEO and founder, Mr. Brian House, has always done, is looked at situations where the consumer, the average person, which is what we're called instead of citizens of the United States, we're called consumers. So the average person, though, is basically being taken advantage of, and they kind of know it, and they just slide it into you on a monthly basis. They don't really say it. They don't talk to you about it. It just kind of happens. And these are areas where now we have experts that will be able to watch and not have our income and our money shifted away from us like they're trying to, but it gets shifted back to us. And that's where we're going to see this savings, and we'll ultimately save millions of dollars of shifted money that we can use right now. That's really what MWR Financial Bill Shredder is all about. Am I absolutely accurate on that statement?
Absolutely. And, it's so interesting. If you ever listen to public calls of some of these large companies, you hear phrases like, we're optimizing our customer portfolio. That's my favorite. You hear it all the time. Investors love it. Analysts love it. Think about what that means. What that means, and when you listen to it in more depth, what it means is we're charging more. Some of our customers are going to drop. We don't care because our margin's high enough that we can, lose those customers on the ones that go to sleep. And that's what that means. But it's the pretty Wall Street way to say it is that we're optimizing our customer portfolio to maximize margins. And so, what Bill Shredder does is make sure that you are not one of the customers that's asleep. You're not one of the customers that's continuing to get charged a premium for loyalty. And you let us negotiate as you on your behalf, and that you're never overpaying.
I love it.
I love it. I love it. So, Brian, Cammie, thank you so much. And, Brian, I'm going to turn it back to you. I know a lot of other questions. They'll be able to send those through support and through MWR Financial Bill Shredder. But this is exciting. And, Brian, thank you so much again for always looking out for all of us here at MWR Financial to make sure that we are constantly creating an environment that we can create cash flow out of our existing finances, which we know can then be used to create investment income for all of us.
Absolutely, and to help eliminate debt or whatever it may be. But
right.
Listen, Cammie, thank you so much. You are a wealth of knowledge. Guys, if you've got questions, definitely submit them to support@mwrbillshredder.com. Correct, Cammie? That's the right one we're using.
That is the one. Support@mwrbillshredder.com.
Okay, perfect. And, guys, I'm going to leave you with this. And, Cammie, again, thank you so much. Please stick around. I know we've kept you over for just a minute, but I want to open up this call so everybody can thank you in just a second. And Damo touched on something, and I want to point out something to everybody on this line that I think is extremely important about what we do here at MWR Financial, and that is, guys, we're going to stay in our lane. We are a financial solutions company. We could very easily negotiate deals to get you a lower cable bill through this company, to go get you a lower cell phone bill and start offering cell phones and cable and all these things. We don't do that. We don't want to confuse our message. We want to take and use strategies and services like this that will help you lower your existing expenses and allow you to keep the services you have without you looking like you are a smorgasbord company that tries to be all things to everybody. We will never do that. Understand that. That's why we partnered with Cammie and her team. That's why we formed MWR Financial Bill Shredder. And guys, I am so excited about this. And I will tell you, this is just the beginning. This program, as we continue to grow, will get even better. And I can tell you that there is a lot more good things to come even in this month. So, Cammie, thank you again for being here. I greatly appreciate it. Guys, let's light it up. Let's get to that $1 million goal that Cammie said. I think we can do it in record time. I don't think it's going to take us 90 days. I think we can do it in the next 30. But, you know, I appreciate Indamo giving us all that extra time. But at the same time, I'm going to open up this call. And, guys, if you would, please do me a favor. Give Cammie a big MWR Financial welcome and a big MWR Financial thank you for what she is helping us bring to the table for all of you. So I'm going to open up the lines, guys, so bear with me, and we will all be able to say goodnight.